started here in 1972. The service users that are with me today, I remember the day they came. 40-something years later, I can't believe I'm here to close it.
We're trying to get people, we're trying to get out into the traffic of everyday life and away from the kind of lay-by, you know, the institutional lay-by.
Like this Moorabbey, like it's a great place to live, but it's kind of served its purpose. If it was that great, we'd all be living inside organisations like this, you know.
The big push was to look at the congregate settings, but actually before the report was even came about, the discussions from the CEO and the Board of Management was around moving people out to make a better life for people out there.
We have a fairly simple ethos, really, and at the kernel of that ethos is the recognition that each individual is unique, is a one-off, and the core of our ethos is to figure out how we honour that uniqueness and how we support that person to access a life that's worth living, recognising that standardised solutions are not appropriate in a context where you recognise the uniqueness of each individual.
Some of the service users in that group have been here and have been in different services prior to coming to Moorabbey back in '72. So I think it's time that they did get an opportunity to live in a home like us all. And I think that's very important for them.
So in '96 there was 14 people living in Woodside. So it started off at 18 down to 14. So it took till 2013 to move 5 people out. So the numbers had reduced drastically at that stage then, and we weren't backfilling them. We were actually, our focus was on community, so there was no beds back in Woodside. So that left it better for a better life for the people inside that lived in Woodside at the time. So since 2013, we've approached trying to get houses that are very appropriately and well built, that's suitable for the service users who have significant needs, the people that live in Woodside. In these particular 2 houses and stuff, we had a lot of scope, and we had an architect in that would have a lot of experience in designing it for people with significant needs. So certainly the size and the flow of the house. So whether it's an easy chair or the wheelchair or the different bits that they need, a lot more spacious. So it's an open plan as opposed to your 4-bedroomed house. It's a 4-bedroomed house, but the living space is really important.
So every step towards moving is documented in this transition folder. So the residents have gone up to their houses with their key workers, and the key workers would be very close to the residents. So they would help pick the colours of the person's rooms that they think will suit the person. The family are very involved in the transitioning, and they call in whenever they want to see the transitioning folder.
The staff would have taken the service users out to the houses on several occasions. So the fact that these are 2 new houses, they're not going to meet people that are going to live with you, all already know them, but on occasions before we'd introduced them, they might go for tea, they might go for an overnight, just to make sure they were happy and the people that they were going to live with was happy. But it's a little bit different here that we're going to 2 brand new houses.
You know, everything that we've been doing has been leading up to this. You know, to have the opportunity to be a part of community, live in community. You still have and that's where you need to let the families know they're going to be in a house, a safe house, meeting the standards of HICWA, access to hospitals, you know, that they're gonna have that. They're not going to be in a house left on their own. Their needs will be attended to. So I would understand how family are a little bit apprehensive because the service users have been living here for years.
We would feel it's very important when we're talking to families that we emphasise for them the safeguards that are in place, and that they pick up a very clear sense that we take account of risk, and we make sure we have measures in place to deal with risk.
Security certainly comes out. So I suppose for ourselves, we would have the houses well staffed. We have a 24-hour on call. We have a security company as backup. They're only a phone call away. So So there's a lot of security issues taken into account when we look at it. What we started off doing, we started meeting families as bigger groups and stuff, and everyone has loads of different questions. Personally, what I found was very useful was sitting down in a one-to-one with family members and answering honestly what it is. So to date, out of all of the people that have moved out, there's only one service user who has made their choice that they want to come back in themselves, and that has been accommodated.
The downfall of living in a unit is you're one of so many people. Like sharing a room with someone for so many years. I mean, you kind of only do that maybe in college. You grow out of it after 4 years.
I can see maybe more one-to-one. Instead of having 7 people, to look after, now there'll be only 3 in each house, and I think that's going to be a big plus for the service users. I think maybe their own room. I think that's going to be a big thing, having their own private room, their own sleeping area.
The immediate imperative to move people from living as one of 18 to one of 2 or one of 3 is the almost immediate massive reduction in personal stress levels that the person experiences. Because if you're living with 15 or 16 people, your whole emotional settings will be geared to probably the most distressed and distressing person you're living with. So we would have had a lot of people here who have really only emerged as individuals when they were in much smaller, safer, more intimate settings. Because when they were living with 1 or 2 people who were very upsetting to them, they spent their time in an almost constantly adrenalized state. So that whole reduction in personal stress levels is the immediate return that you get. And when we're explaining to families why we're wanting to go down this road, we will front load it with that explanation rather than talking about community integration, which takes a long time to nurture.
Activities that are currently doing will be continue to be done, but in a community setting. So we have over the last number of years Pacific Day service that had been looking after those with community integration as the focus. And we certainly have progressed in that each of the houses Monday to Friday will have somebody assigned specifically for community outings and stuff. So that's really important to stress.
Yeah, I suppose it was like really exciting for everybody. So since we moved in, changes would be, I don't know, they all have their own bedrooms now. So sleep patterns are different. Mons would be someone who woke up in the early hours of the night. Now she's kind of sleeping better, sleeping longer. So, and then obviously Marie is enjoying her sleep that much better because she's not being interrupted. She doesn't have the broken sleep from Mons waking her up. You know, the house itself is a lovely house, so it's homely. We're still trying to make it homelier. What else do we have? We've the grocery shopping, so you know that's new. We're out every week. We either walk out town. Our location is great here. We get to do an awful lot of walking into town. There's nice walks out around up by the hurling pitch. You can tell that the service users appreciate the food. Yeah, you can tell that they appreciate the home cooked meals. They used to go to massage inside in Moorabbey, but now we have the ladies come out to give them the massage in their house. A lot more shopping, clothes shopping, bed linen, house shopping. You know, they used to see the doctor in Moorabbey, but now it's you have to go see the doctor in Newbridge. You have to go see your GP in Newbridge. Do you know what I mean? We still have other neighbours that we have to meet and organise and stuff. So I think we're waiting on the local priest to come back, and we're going to do like a blessing at the house, and we're going to have neighbours around and stuff like that.
And we're going to have coffee mornings.
And coffee mornings, yeah.
Yeah, we're going to invite the neighbours in.
Yeah, and there's David Fawn this week now after his dinner.
I'm so proud of the fact now that we have 2 new houses opened in the community. We have 6 people living there. But again, that's only just the start of the journey. They've been there 3 months. So people are starting to settle into their new homes. They're starting to find their feet. They have their new bedrooms. They have their new home. We immediately can see an improved quality of life. We can see that people are sleeping better. We can see that people are eating better. We see that the stress levels have reduced. We will see medication reductions. So really it has been a real quality piece of work. But it's to the future now. So Siobhan, I'm just wondering from your experience, around community integration, how do you think we should go about this really next important piece?
Well, I suppose, Sheila, from my perspective, the 18th of January marked the conclusion of one part of the story and the beginning of the next. And like all the stories that have come before the people who've moved out of Woodside, we know that there are so many incredible benefits. But those pieces around community are, they can take much longer to achieve for individuals. So it's that we recognise now that the real hard work beyond those 18 months of intense work to get people out into their new community homes is the recognition that the years that lie ahead will be constantly focused on giving people opportunities. We can't force those situations. We have to support people to have those experiences and opportunities, and then they can determine for themselves what they choose to do within their own communities.
And we had one really nice piece already where on the first day into one of our new houses, the neighbours came and visited. They brought their children. The children hadn't been exposed to people with an intellectual disability in the past. We knew prior to the move that these people were nervous about their new neighbours, but they came, they visited, they stayed, they had tea. I think that was really the first step for me in getting to know your neighbours.
As a parent of young children myself, I think that this is what my generation and your generation didn't have the experience of, seeing in normal experiences of everyday life, meeting people with an intellectual disability. How could you not want that for your own children?